Oh my God. Hello. Welcome to Pod Mavericks live reaction show to the NBA draft lottery. It seems that I can't even spell my own header correctly, so I'm going to switch to something else. This is Kirk Henderson, joined tonight, at least to start with Xavier Santos. How you doing, my guy? It's great. Doesn't seem like he can hear me. Just top-notch internet, top-notch quality show. Great way to start this entire process. We're just kind of hanging out here for a little bit before the NBA draft starts. Xavier, can you hear us? This is really just it's foreboding. He's working off a internet connection, which means he might not have the juice for a live stream, but we will figure it out. Cody says, I thought Josh Bowe was dripped out for a minute. That is a one of one comment. Big fan of that. So we're here, and I am unbelievably nervous. And I don't know why, because if you look at kind of what's going on for the next 25 minutes, we don't really have a lot of we don't really have a lot of say in the situation. We don't have a lot of we don't have great odds, but to go over those, I did want to start out doing this. Wow, we already have 100 people. While you're in here, guys, if you are new to the show, if you could go ahead and smash that like button and potentially the subscribe, that would make me big fans of you. I'm going to hop on over here to the lottery odds, and we can talk about those while I wait to see if anybody from the Mavs Moneyball staff will be willing to join. We only have 20 people on staff. We'll see if there's somebody there that wants to talk to us. So just to kind of go over the math real quick. Essentially, it boils down to this. And I've talked to a lot of people the last several days who don't really seem to get what the lottery is in a nutshell. The lottery is to figure out who in the order of the top four, and then after that it goes sequentially based on record. So the Mavericks right now are slotted to draft. They have the 10th best odds. So the most likely thing that's going to happen to them, they have a 65.9% chance of staying in the 10th spot overall. They can also fall back to 11. There is a 19% chance of that happening. And then there is a 1.2% chance of them falling back to 12, meaning somebody else, two teams from behind, would have to jump the Dallas Mavericks for them to fall back that far. So like I said a second ago, there's a 65.9% chance they stay in 10. Then there's also a total of a 13.9% chance that they are in the top four with a decreasing likelihood for each pick. They have a 4% chance at 4, 3.6% chance at 3, 3.3% chance at 2, and a 3% chance at 1. All right, so I see my guy Josh has joined us. Josh, what's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going?
It's good. We have Xavier in here for a second, but he said he had an internet outage, and as the show went live, it kicked him out. He and I talked for like 5 solid minutes before the show started. Just fantastic content, probably because it eats up bandwidth on these sorts of things. It's like it works like this right up until you have an opportunity to go live, and then it eats just a little more bandwidth than you would have expected. So how you doing tonight?
Damn, I can't yell at Xavier about his DeAndre Ayton take he dropped in Slack just a couple minutes ago.
He's trying to, and I think we ought to discuss that in the meantime. Let me ask you a question. Are you at all near a television for this thing?
There's technically one behind me, but it's not on. But I've got my second monitor out here. I'm on a desktop, so I've got the lottery on my second monitor right next to me.
Because you have better. If anybody wants to know about my TV circumstances, I can tell you I employ a not It's a fantastic service, but not the most accurate for the live stuff. So I didn't even want to try it. All right. Also, I see hanging down there in the stream is our contributor Brent Brooks. I'm going to invite him in here. We're going to invite Xavier too if he's able to figure this out. We're just going to have a party right up until the lottery starts, and then we can collectively panic together. If you are new to the stream, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well. That sort of thing is very helpful to me. All right, Brent, how you doing? Xavier,
hey,
how are you doing?
Oops. Welcome to the fork in the road.
Fork in the road? Talk to me about it.
Well, it just seems like a defining moment for the franchise that none of us would have expected a year ago, right? I mean,
that's right.
Be sitting here on pins and needles going, are we going to keep a pick? I mean, everybody's talking about top four. I just don't want bottom four. That's the scary part.
Sure. Well, I also see who wants to join in. Our occasional contributor, Clint Carroll, who is the voice of hope. He's not. Clint is probably panicked right now that we're going to fall out of the draft. Clint, how are you?
I'm not panicked. I'm confident we're going to fall out of the draft. I'm just ready to accept it.
Yeah, if y'all aren't familiar, if y'all think me and Kirk are the Mavericks curmudgeons, you guys should. If you guys could only see our Slack
in a given day,
from Clint, he is our Mavericks Grim Reaper, and we love him for it.
Thank you. I'm sorry I'm not in a fancy chair in like an office like you guys. My kids took over what used to be my office. So I'm having to broadcast, like I'm bedridden, which I will be once this drawing is over.
This is what streaming is. Like during the season, my wife started kicking me downstairs. So I had to find a place that didn't have like family photos in the background. And so for the last like 10 games of the season, I streamed in front of some shutters. It was pretty bad. But now I have like my office set up. My parents were here this weekend and my dad was making fun of me. So, so what's going on?
Oh, not much, man. I somehow spent the whole day nervous about this, like despite already knowing it's not going to go our way.
Sure.
I was at work all day. I was taking an online training class, distracted because it just feels like things are gonna go bad. And the thing is, I'm not confident even if we keep the 10 pick that we do anything good.
See, and that's where even grumpy me tends to stop people, because I'm just like, this is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun in some regards. And I like what the 10th pick sort of signifies in that it will allow us some optionality. Now, and when it's still a pick, it has value. Like the moment you make the pick, it's what is it? It's like the driving the car off the lot thing. Your car immediately loses value.
Yeah.
But I just can't help myself in the sense of I'm really thrilled at the opportunity to go get a guy. We back in 2020, so it's been a couple of years. I guess the Mavericks did select Hardy last year once they traded out. But 2020, we wrote a billion things. And we were really excited about the draft possibilities. I mean, in hindsight, we now know that the 2020 draft was just such a functioning disaster where, Josh Green, as much as I sort of malign the pick, would probably be like a top 12 to 15 guy in that draft overall. So it sort of is what it is. But with this one, with the folks who are covering the draft, which ironically enough is not any of the four of us relative to the rest of our staff. There's some real, it seems like there's some real dudes at this point. Ronald in the chat, mentions Hendricks, who is Josh's, that's the guy Josh wants. And the joke is he's just not going to be there. He's going to get drafted at 9
or higher. I mean, we've talked to our friends that cover this, not only just the people on our site that cover this, Jordan and Ian and Logan and Matthew that pump out these draft profiles, but we've talked to other people that do follow draft things. And he initially, the mocks were like around 10. So you get excited, but they haven't even done the combine yet. Like he hasn't even worked out with teams. Like the mock is basically useless right now because there's going to be so much moving and shaking when these guys actually get in front of teams to work out and do interviews. And everything I've heard, and I know Kirk, you've heard the same from the people we know that are plugged in the draft, is that as soon as Hendricks gets in a gym for these teams, he's gonna rock it up.
I think so. I think so, because it's difficult because they're the guy from Houston that we posted about today.
Mm-hmm.
He what is it? It's is it Jarris Walker?
Yeah.
Jarris Walker is seen in like that area as well, and there's just no way. There's no way he's sitting there. Okay, I'm going to bring up Xavier, who drove to find Wi-Fi. Like this is what we call a team player. He is wearing a New York hat tonight, but that's a Yankees hat, not a Knicks hat. Xavier, how are you tonight, buddy?
Greetings. Yes, I'm currently on my way to find McDonald's Wi-Fi because there's an internet outage in my subdivision. My HOA will get a sternly worded email about this.
Well, so now that you're here, so for anybody, just some background, all of us have day jobs, night jobs. Some of us care, like we all care a ton, but we sort of like waffle in and out of Mavs Moneyball sometimes. And Xavier has a wonderful knack of parachuting in with just a absolute firebomb of a take. And he did this about 15 minutes ago to the Mavs Moneyball Slack regarding whether or not the Mavericks should or could or would be interested in DeAndre Ayton, of which I want to say McMahon said the Mavericks have been interested in a while, but it's like, do they have the juice for it? So why don't you share with us this take while we have this impending sense of doom about the draft lottery?
We're driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. One of the things I love about Indeed is it makes hiring all in one place so easy and streamlined so I can spend more time on the rest of my business. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences. So the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Just go to Indeed.com/Blue Wire right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Real quick, Kirk, you said you needed someone to monitor a TV? We're 7 minutes and 50 seconds away from the beginning of the lottery reveal.
Okay, well, I've done plenty of things in 7 minutes and 15 seconds, sometimes much less than that. So I will be ready. All of us will be. So Xavier, go ahead. Thank you, though, Clint. That's good to know.
So I think my point is more so about how fans are currently valuing the 10th pick. My hate and disdain for DeAndre Ayton is well documented. I think he's soft. I think his unwillingness to buy into being a star level role player is what's holding back the Suns. But that notion that the Mavs would be foolish to trade the 10th pick for him, I think we're overvaluing the 10th pick, right? The chances of us landing even a DeAndre Ayton level player, which again, he's not a star by any means, but even landing a rotation quality players, maybe 15 to 20%. I know that DeAndre Ayton's ceiling isn't that high. He's not a cornerstone. He's not someone that you build around, especially with that contract. But if you're going to be re-signing Kyrie, you're essentially punting on cap space. So at that point, the contract.
Okay.
Oh,
his
my
Wi-Fi
God.
died. That's fine. I know where he's going. At that point, the contract is sort of a bit of what do you want to call it, like an albatross to a degree. All right, we'll bring X back when he comes back, but that's okay. He's hustling for the team here. And then Clint's internet just died as well.
Can I just say that? Can I just jump in and say that all this talk of Ayton, it just scares me because not only am I on board with Xavier saying that I don't like him as a player, I wouldn't trade the 10th pick for him. I wouldn't trade for him at all. I think at some point we have to look at what kind of drain he would be to the culture, to the locker room. Phoenix is where they are right now, largely because he has underwhelmed. He should forever not be a Maverick, and yet I feel all this talk and how if the talk about the reporting about the front office being in love with him is or enamored of him at the very least is true. Maybe we're on a collision course with that kind of wackiness. I hope not.
All right, Xavier, finish your point. You closed out when you were talking about the contract, and then God kicked you offline. So what? Go ahead. And it did it again.
Wait. It's connected to the McDonald's Wi-Fi.
We can hear you. We can hear you, though. Go ahead.
Okay, there we go. All right. God bless free internet. So essentially, look, when you're looking at the 10th pick, the best use of it, you're not trading that straight up for a superstar player, right? Not even really a star player. The best you can probably hope to do with the 10th pick is trade for a vet that's on a bloated contract where whatever team he's on probably is going nowhere fast, and they're probably looking to just shed some money and gain some cap flexibility. And I think if you do that, that's probably a win. Because again, and remember, it's more about Luka, right? The Luka situation is extremely.
We lost him again.
It's tough. Because he's
in what, year 2, year 3? We don't have a 2 to 3 year runaway to allow the 10th pick to develop. And even if he does, if he's the 6th best player on your team, what does that do for your ceiling?
Let me ask you this, because you touched on something related to Luka, and CBA Mavs lives literally across the planet, so he's not often able, when he does hop in, understand everybody, he's doing like Mavs work at the expense of his sleep in a way that's very different than the rest of us. Because one of the things that I'm very curious about with this new CBA is it really seems like the extensions for the Supermax type stuff, like what Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are eligible for. Did you see those figures? Like they're north of $300 million. At a certain point, these guys become quite literally untradeable because you can't match, like there's no way to match the salary. So are we sort of being too pissy and like too worried about Luka, demanding stuff or maybe leaving, because it simply would be crazy for him to leave money like that on the table? Am I making any sense with that question?
I think it helps. I think it helps the odds of him staying.
Yeah, that's sort of what I mean, where it's just like he can get as mad as he wants. Is he going to leave like $350 million or, like 120 of it to go someplace else and sign a different contract? So it's not that I'm saying we shouldn't care what Luka thinks, but I've sort of backpedaled off my gloom and doom stance of like, if the Mavs mess this up, then we're going to lose Luka, because I'm just wondering if it's be financially insane for him to leave the draft. Ronald asks if we got the 10th pick. Well, Ronald, the draft or the lottery hasn't started quite yet.
2 minutes, 50 seconds away.
Okay, so Clint, so you're watching this thing live. I think you and granted, my TV's over there. I want you to do some announcing for us as it comes up, because you are your angry, upset face might rival mine. Okay. And I think it would be worth it. And we'll see if we can get any other Mavs Moneyball slackers in here.
Could I ask a question? Is it possible that Luka wants Ayton? Because was it Stein that reported Luka and Ayton are buddies? And I know they share an agent.
I don't know. I think that there's a friendliness there, which is one of the few sort of, like, I think a lot of these NBA players have like a high level of respect for Luka, but because he goes overseas, it's not like they hang outside of All-Star weekend. I think Luka and he probably have a little bit better of a relationship because of the rookie things. So it wouldn't shock me if he would be interested in it, because, like, look, Ayton is a lot of things. One of them is a physical specimen, and we have seen him that when he plays very well, it's very tantalizing. He's one of the few bigs, and I'd be curious if you disagree with me here, Xavier. He is one of the few bigs that has the ability to guard on the perimeter effectively, because he has nice lateral movement. His problem is that he just doesn't seem to like basketball that much.
And I think we're underrating how much he hates the situation in Phoenix, right? Mm-hmm. I think that he accepted the contract because he was looking to maximize the money, but I think he hates the coaching staff. I don't think that he believes the previous coaching staff believed in him. And he sees, and there's also a lack of self-awareness. He sees himself as a superstar player but he doesn't have superstar abilities, right? You're not going to run your offense through DeAndre Ayton. You're just not. And that's what he wants, right? There's like the Rudy Gobert syndrome. Like, he wants touches that really he's not good enough. He hasn't been good enough to earn consistently. And especially when you have someone like Devin Booker and someone like KD, I mean, for the defense, if you give DeAndre Ayton a touch as opposed to Booker and KD, that's a win for the defense, right? So why would the coaching staff draw up a play for you? No, you need to go do the dirty work, box out, get offensive rebounds, get putbacks, get to the line. And he just thinks he's better than that, right? Similar to Anthony Davis. There's a reason Anthony Davis has never really bought into being a center. He doesn't want to do the dirty work because he sees himself as better than that. And I think that's DeAndre Ayton's problem. But physically, if he's bought in, if he has a point guard that can get him the ball on pick and rolls and in transition, I do think that he can average 20 and 10 quite easily and make a difference. But, you know, it's tough.
Yeah,
I think we're marching for the countdown. Clint, what do you got for us?
Yeah, they're introducing the representatives of the team. We saw Nico a minute ago sitting with just endless charisma as usual.
Just the charisma of a sock drawer.
That guy.
I don't understand it. He's got something because he clearly was friends with all these guys, but I feel like I'm missing something on occasion. Man. So who are the other representatives? Who do we got so far?
We just saw Brandon Roy. Yeah.
Ben Wallace is there on behalf of the Pistons. He appears to be 70 years old now. White beard, white hair.
Still scary as shit.
Yeah, I would not want to mess with him. I would rather fight Nico than him.
Ben Wallace could probably start for the Mavs.
Sure. Let's do that.
Okay, we're getting started here.
This is not remotely petrifying.
Yeah. So, and I think the way they do this, because they do them in chunks so they can do commercial breaks. Because the whole point of this is
they do 14
advertising.
To 5.
So yeah, so we'll know at least with the Mavs. I think before the first.
We'll at least know if someone
break.
Jumped us right away. I think.
Right.
Did anyone do anything particularly? What do you want to call it? Superstitious today?
Kirk, do you want these in real time?
Oh yeah, let's go. Sorry.
No, it's okay. They're just Mark Tatum is on TV and he's talking. The Pelicans are at 14, so they did not jump.
That's chalk so far.
At 13, the Toronto Raptors, so they did not jump.
Still chalk. All right. Now here's where things get dicey for the Mavericks because they can vault.
At 12, the Oklahoma City Thunder, so they did not jump.
Okay.
Here it is.
Here it is.
Moment of truth right here. He's opening the envelope. At number 11, the Orlando Magic from the
the Mavericks.
They did not jump.
Mavericks keep the pick at the very least.
Here
Number
we go.
10 pick belongs to the Dallas Mavericks.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. All right.
Nico is back on TV looking stunned.
I mean, yeah.
But, they kept the pick. That they avoided the doomsday scenario. I mean, that's
the doomsday scenario is there.
9 is the Jazz. I don't know if you want me to keep going now.
Let's keep going through this because that's kind of the rest. And then what we'll do is take probably a short break. And
number 8, the Washington Wizards.
All right, so that is still chalk.
Number 7, the Pacers.
That's fast. Oh man, I remember. I just feel like previous drafts have had guys jump at this point.
Well, normally it seems like they take a break after each pick. They make it last even longer. Number 6, the Orlando Magic.
They'll take a break before 4.
Yes, they will.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
And number 5, the Detroit Pistons.
Someone moved up.
Wow, so they fell from 1 to 5.
Wow.
Ben Wallace is vibing, though. He looks okay with it. He's dancing. So I think that means Portland jumped up?
Portland jumped up at least one spot.
Yep.
Well, that's good. Dame deserves it. He's so loyal.
So loyal. And if they didn't tank for repeated years,
Yeah, they're at, what are they, number 3 or 4 in Bill Simmons' karma rankings?
Yeah, that was pretty hilarious.
Okay, hey, Kirk, going to a commercial now, but they're showing Magic Johnson on the bumper for ESPN, just so you know.
I haven't seen Magic on TV in years. Have not seen him on T. Yeah, Matthew in the chat with the F Portland. Oh no, that's Brian. Multiple people with the F Portland. That's fantastic. We're all it's but the ability to complain to media and talk about how loyal you are is apparently good for something.
So have we traded the pick for Ayton yet?
Well, now that's what we got to talk about because they're trading the pick. I mean, there's no regardless of how any of us feel, I think we all know that they're probably trading the pick. I mean,
I
don't see a scenario where they won't. And I mean, I hate it, and I know X laid out some pretty good reasons, and I actually agree with a lot of them. Like in terms of the value of 10, like I don't think Ayton is probably the best they could get. Like, I mean, who else are you going to get? Like, you're not going to get Miles, you're not going to get Mikal Bridges, you're not going to get OG Anunoby, unless it's part of like a huge package,
right?
Unless you're adding a lot more to it. So I get Ayton is probably the top of the pick. I would just rather keep it and roll. I know there's development and you worry about the 2 years, but like I'm tired of watching this team with undrafted players and second round picks and all these guys playing 35 minutes a game. I want young guys. I want talent. I want something to build on. And you look at all these contenders, and it's like, how do they become a contender, and how do they stay a contender? And it's cheap rookie deals usually contribute to that. And like we're already seeing, and they've got some chips to like if they want to do a trade, you've got I love Jaden Hardy, but are you going to commit to all three of those guys for the future? Like Jaden Hardy is technically a luxury right now because they've got two of the best ball handlers in the league. So. Josh Green still has some juice. Do you want to trade him or keep it? Like, I would just rather take 10 because I just want the talent. I want young, cheap talent, and I want them to do something they don't do ever. They need to start building like a small market team. They don't. And the big market teams, they just get rid of these picks like it's nothing. Like, I'm just tired of it. I just want them to take a player, develop them. Like, if you can't, if you take a pick here and you can't make other moves around this in the next 2 to 3 years to make yourself a contender, I don't think trading Ayton is going to get you that much any closer because like you still have to make other moves. So I don't know. I just
that Luka will be here for that long though, right? And I think that's the gray cloud that's hanging over us. Would he be here?
But the thing is that I think that conversation's kind of like they fucked up already. If they wanted to make sure Luka was guaranteed to be here, they would have made a lot. They should have done a lot of different things in the last 3 to 4 years. So like at this point, I'd rather them just take a talented player, and which is supposed to. I mean, people say this every other year, but it's supposed to be a really deep draft. I would rather take a chance in this draft than Ayton, who we've already seen, who's played more years in the NBA than he's played in college or high school. So like we're starting to get kind of what he is, even though he's still pretty young. And I understand he would probably be great in the regular season. Luka would make him look awesome. I have no doubt about that. But I just want them to build something that feels sustainable and not trying to take these cheap shortcuts. And I understand they might feel like they have to because Luka's out the door, but I kind of feel like that wheel's already turned and there's not much stopping it.
We sort of talked about this the last 2 years. By trying to avoid the bird rights trap, we are in the fucking bird rights trap where we're paying all these people. Like we have one of the worst cap sheets in the league for the luxury tax that we pay. And that's on its face is why getting somebody like Ayton is kind of terrifying because
no, we lost our leader.
Kurt, go to McDonald's.
I'm here.
Sorry, I briefly lost internet.
There you go.
So,
go to McDonald's.
Can I jump in real quick, guys? Would you call Detroit up and offer the 10th pick in JaVale for Duren?
I mean, I would offer.
They hang up on us.
Yeah, nobody wants
JaVale. They report this to the local authorities.
I'm talking about JaVale being salary filler. Like, how much value would you have to add to 10? Would it be 10 and Hardy or 10 and Green to get to Duren? But I would rather have Duren than Ayton.
Yeah, I think that scenario just flew out the door because you're hoping Detroit gets Victor, which makes their big.
No, they've got Wiseman. They've seemed to have committed to, and Stewart too. That they really want to go into next year with 3.
Are we back on the draft yet, Clint?
We're back with the number 4 pick. Who are we rooting for to get Victor?
I don't know. No
number
one.
4.
Let's say not Houston and not San Antonio because I do not want him in the Mavericks division.
Well, number 4 is the Houston Rockets. Number 3, the Portland Trailblazers.
Okay.
So I'm rooting Charlotte. I want Charlotte.
I'm rooting Charlotte.
Yeah, Charlotte.
Yeah, give me Charlotte.
Let him go there and be squandered. Number 2, the Charlotte Hornets.
Oh my God.
Spurs.
And with the number 1 pick in the 2023 NBA draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Taylor Hendricks. He moved up in the draft.
So let's get this straight, fellas. So starting in 2018, we had Luka Doncic come to the Dallas Mavericks. In 2019, we had Zion Williamson go to the Pelicans. Ja Morant go to the Memphis.
Jaren Jackson goes to Memphis too.
I mean, it's just Jackson going to Memphis. It's like now we have. It's like this is why the East is a perpetual tire fire. This is amazing. This is amazing.
Kirk, and don't forget that what potentially cost us Zion was Dirk's last regular season game when we won that game in honor of Dirk, and then we ended up in a coin flip, which we lost, and then that pick then turned.
Well, there was also the Memphis game where Devin Harris went bananas along with who was it?
Mejri,
Solid Mejri. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do, team. We got 226 people in here. Thank you so much for hanging out. We're right at about a half hour. We're gonna take a short break. I want you to go to our YouTube channel here. Please hit the subscribe button. Please look for the next live show, which is gonna be in about 15 minutes. Any of these guys who want to come back are welcome to come back and talk. I'm probably going to host and let some of these other, let some of our normal commenters come up that are in the chat, angry or happy or whatever we want. We can talk possibilities. We do have the 10th pick, and you know, as a content creator, I'm happy that we have that simply because if we didn't, I would have nothing to talk about until Summer League, which is in July. 6 weeks is a long time to hit bullshit post counts. Nobody from SB Nation is listening. God. Okay. Do you guys have any closing thoughts before we take a quick break?
I just want to say that they're showing Victor is in Paris right now being interviewed by Brian Windhorst.
Sure.
Windhorst is about 10 times wider than Victor, and it's funny looking.
Well, there we go. All right, guys. This has been Kirk Henderson and a significant portion of the Mavs Moneyball team. Thank you for joining Pod Mavericks live draft show. We will be back shortly. Everybody have a good night, and I hope you come back.